Welcome to Fit2Serve Sleep Health for Tactical Personnel. My name is Ashley Romiak, and I will be taking you through this presentation. The task here is to demonstrate an understanding of sleep on an individual level. Condition: given a PowerPoint, a virtual learning instructional video, and a virtual online classroom environment, learn the basics of tactical athlete nutrition. The standard would be to complete the virtual learning module and score 70% or higher on the physical readiness quiz. Learning objectives today are: this course is designed to enable personnel to do the following: to develop an understanding of sleep science and application to the tactical athlete, and demonstrate an understanding of sleep hygiene and establish a personal sleep routine to enhance the quality of sleep, and lastly, develop a personal sleep strategy. Sleep is essential for performance and recovery. Tactical athletes have jobs where meeting the recommended amount of sleep may be an issue. With shift work, 24-hour duty day, and missions, it can make it very difficult to obtain the needed sleep. This population typically has a sleep rating of poor to fair. This raises a concern because lack of sleep has consequences. Consequences such as low performance, impaired judgment, reduced hand and eye coordination, and a higher chance of serious accidents in the line of duty. Sleep is critical for the sustainment of mental function needed for success in training and missions. Occupational effects of decreased sleep would be decreased cognitive function. So chronic poor sleep can lead to cognitive impairments, including things such as reduced attention, memory problems, and slower reaction times. In the demanding and high-stakes environment of emergency response, these cognitive deficits can impair decision-making and problem-solving abilities. There's also an increased risk of error. So sleep-deprived emergency responders are more likely to make mistakes, make errors, including errors in judgment, communication, and the execution of tasks. These errors can have serious consequences for both responders and the individual they're assisting. There's also a reduced alert and vigilance. With chronic sleep deprivation, this can result in reduced alertness and vigilance during critical moments, and that will increase the risk of accidents and compromising the safety of both the responders and the public. There's also health effects. So mental health disorders. Poor sleep is closely linked to the development of mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression. Emergency responders experiencing chronic sleep problems are at a higher risk of developing these disorders, which can affect their overall well-being and their job performance. Cardiovascular issues. Chronic poor sleep is associated with an increased risk in cardiovascular problems, including hypertension and heart disease. So given the physical demands of the emergency response work, the responders with sleep disorder may face a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Metabolic disorders. Sleep deprivation can lead to a disruption in glucose metabolism and increased risk in conditions like type 2 diabetes. This is particularly concerning for responders who need to maintain physical fitness and endurance for their jobs. Immune system impairment. Chronic sleep deprivation weakens the immune system, making responders more susceptible to illness. This can result in increased sick leave and reduced availability for duty. Increased risk of PTSD. Poor sleep can exacerbate the risk of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, among emergency responders. This combination of traumatic experiences and sleep disturbances can lead to more severe and persistent PTSD symptoms. Lastly, fatigue-related injuries. The physical demands of emergency response work coupled with fatigue from poor sleep increase the risk of on-job injuries. Fatigue-related accidents can have some serious consequences for both the responders and those that they are helping. According to the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention, 1/3 of the U.S. adults report they usually get less than the recommended of sleep, which is 7 to 9 hours for adults 18 to 64 in a 24-hour period. Tactical populations tend to self-report significantly less sleep than the general population. Inadequate sleep impacts the TA's effectiveness, evidenced by a reduced ability to execute complex tasks, communicate effectively, and make quick, appropriate decisions and maintain vigilance. Loss of sleep equals loss of performance. Interesting fact, the Walter Reed Army Institute and the Sleep Research Center said some studies compared lack of sleep with blood alcohol concentration. They found that when a person has 24 hours of continuous wakefulness, or if they only get 4 hours of sleep over 5 to 6 nights, they are operating at a performance level equivalent to a blood alcohol content of 0.09. The legal limit of intoxication in the US is a blood alcohol content of 0.08. This means that going on duty under this level is similar to going to work drunk. This can lead to so many accidents, injuries, and serious consequences. Circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm is a 24-hour clock in our brains that regulates cycles of alertness and sleepiness by responding to changes to light in our environment. So the light-dark cycle of the sun has a powerful effect on our circadian clock, our sleep, and our alertness. Your body's circadian clock responds to light. Light is the signal to be awake, and dark is the signal to be asleep. Sleep debt or sleep deficit results from less than 7 hours of sleep each night. Sleep needs to have some degree of intervariability between individuals, meaning the amount of sleep required varies to some extent among individuals. Interestingly, sleep deprivation can have a few positive effects, such as tireless stamina, enhanced creativity, and heightened awareness, and a cheerful mood. The signs of some insufficient sleep include struggling to stay awake during duty breaks or driving, difficulty understanding information, you can't pay attention, irritability, and decreased initiative or motivation. You just don't feel like doing anything. So it's apparent we understand that humans need sleep. But the precise reason why we need sleep is yet to be known. The primary reason so far is believed to restore natural balance for overall health. It's pretty interesting. So we have our circadian rhythm, and the circadian rhythm regulates our sleep cycles. So the human body goes through 2 phases of sleep. One is rapid eye movement, or as we know it, REM, and the second is non-rapid eye movement, which is NREM. We spend 75% of our time in non-rapid eye movement sleep. So NREM is also then further divided into 3 stages. So when you're doing 75% of your sleep and you're in non-rapid eye movement, then you're broken down into stages of N1, N2, and N3. Each of these stages, we go into a progressively deeper sleep. So each phase and stage change, like each phase and stage of these sleep cycles changes our muscle tone, our brainwave patterns, and even eye movements. And the body cycles through these about 4 to 6 times each night. And one complete sleep cycle takes about 90 minutes. So when we're in the non-rapid eye movement and we're in N1, that's our light sleep, right? We're in theta waves of brain activity. And we spend about 5% in there. N2 is a deeper sleep. That's 45% of the 75. Your heart rate and body temperature begins to drop, and that's when you enter the delta waves of brain activity. And then N3 is our deepest, so that's going to be the 25% of our sleep time. So this is when it's difficult to awake. So and if you've ever woken up during this part of your sleep, you might feel confused, mental fog. This is classified as sleep inertia. So sleep inertia is known as a temporary disorientation and decline in performance and mood after awakening from this cycle of sleep. So if you've ever woken up during this cycle, you just know, because you're like, wow, you don't feel right. You feel so off. You feel groggy, and that feeling can last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. But this is also the stage when you're not woken up and you complete that full N3 cycle. Is when your body repairs itself, it regrows the tissue and builds muscle and bones. Interesting enough, this is also when sleepwalking, night terrors, and bedwetting occurs. And this is when you are in the delta waves of brain activity. Then we talk about rapid eye movement or REM sleep. This is beta waves, which is very similar to wakefulness. This is associated with dreaming, and when you have those irregular muscle movements or twitches, that's, it's good to know the sleep cycles. Once you understand the importance, you can understand why you need to finish each sleep cycle before waking, if possible, because when you're woken up during that, that N3 stage, you're going to feel worse possibly than when you woke up. Let's review. Stage 1, you're drowsy, first 5 to 10 minutes of sleep, and then you enter stage 2. It's kind of that light sleep, dreamy kind of mystical state, about 20 minutes. Then you're in the moderate sleep, like you're asleep, 10 to 20 minutes before you get into deep sleep, which is that last 30 minutes. And then stage 5 would be the REM sleep, the rapid eye movement. Briefly, I do want to introduce you to the 4 stages of brainwave activity. So you have the beta, which is are produced when our brain is actively engaged, such as now, right? When we're in a conversation and there's mental activity. Then you have alpha waves. It's slower. They occur when your brain is resting, kind of in that relaxed state. Theta waves, less arousal in the brain when you're zoning out or kind of daydreaming. And delta waves, right? This is the slowest of the brain waves. It occurs while you're sleeping. And delta waves are associated with like the deep healing, the regeneration, the access to our subconscious minds. These are the stages of brainwaves, and it's interesting to kind of understand the different activity and waves our brain gives off, given if we're awake in a dream state, relaxed, or sleeping. Remember, as a kid, we had mandatory naps when we were in like preschool or kindergarten or something, and then as adults, we look back and we're like, wow, I really should have enjoyed those naps more, because then as an adult, we don't often get to nap. But it's okay. I'm telling you, I'm giving you permission. It's okay to incorporate naps. So let's talk about tactical naps. So a tactical nap is also known as a power nap. And the 20 to 30-minute tactical nap is golden. That way you don't wake up in that foggy, confused state, and it gives you just enough to kind of boost your mental focus and make you feel a little more rested. So tactical naps are used in addition to help you get that 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. So if you sleep 6 hours, then during the day maybe you can find a 30-minute to an hour window to take that tactical nap to get you to that 7 to 9 hours. The Walter Reed Institute of Research and the Sleep Research Center says it's not necessarily referring to the duration of the nap when it talks about napping, but rather the intention of the nap being to purposely better your health, your alertness, your emotions, and your cognitive function. Tactical naps would be good to, like I said, achieve that 7+ hours of sleep, get a little extra sleep before a long mission, to recover performance and alertness. For some, napping is an ability that they can do anytime, anywhere, and other people have to kind of work and get the skill of napping. Right, it is a skill that you can develop. Some key points here is to try to take the nap as close to duty as possible. Naps can be as little as 20 minutes up to 2 hours, which would complete a full sleep cycle. 20 to 30 minutes is considered the golden nap time. But the one aspect you need to be aware of is that nap cannot interfere with your normal sleep. So if you nap too late in the day, you might not be able to fall asleep at night, and that is counterproductive to what the nap needs to be able to do. Let's talk about sleep tactics for sustained ops. Of course, the night before, try to get 7 to 8, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every 24 hours. During, if it's a sustained mission, if possible, continue to get 7 to 8 hours every 24 hours. Take naps when needed as duty permits, and you can use a little bit of caffeine if needed. After, aim for your 7 to 9 hours of sleep, or get work in those tactical naps to pay off your sleep debt and resupply your sleep bank. Caffeine, coffee, energy drinks, you name it, we consume it. Caffeine does help promote wakefulness, but it does this by blocking a sleep-inducing chemical called adenosine. Caffeine is helpful to stay awake, but can also prolong the time it takes you to fall asleep. It can contribute to less sleep overall and make you feel less rested when you wake up. The effects of taking caffeine start about 30 minutes after consumption and can last up to 5 hours. The FDA indicates that for adults, a safe daily dose would be up to 400 milligrams a day. So for sustained ops, for tactical personnel, if you're doing no sleep and you're working nights, you could do something like 200 milligrams at midnight, 200 milligrams at 6 a.m. if needed. Daytime, you would do maybe 200 milligrams at 12, and then 4 p.m., 1600 only if needed. For nighttime, for night ops with daytime sleep, 200 milligrams at the start of the night shift, and you can do another 200 milligrams 4 hours later. But the last dose needs to be at least 6 hours before sleep time, so it does not affect your sleep. If you're on restricted sleep, take 200 milligrams upon waking, and again, 200 milligrams later with no caffeine, 6 hours of lights out. So here's a kind of some of the common drinks that we have with caffeine in them. So a brewed cup of coffee, 135, Starbucks espresso 70, Monster Energy 160, Red Bull 80, Mountain Dew 90, Diet Coke 60. I mean, these little things add up. But definitely look at nutrition labels. Even if you take pre-workout energy supplements, some of those have over 600 milligrams of caffeine. So definitely read the labels of the supplements and the beverages you consume to try to stay within that 400 milligrams a day limit. So we all heard of melatonin, and if not, let me introduce you. A lot of people do take this as a supplement, but melatonin, and they think, oh, melatonin, that's a sleep supplement. Well, actually, melatonin is a hormone that regulates the sleep-wake cycle, right? Darkness prompts our body to start producing it. So when it gets dark outside, your body starts naturally producing melatonin. And when there's light outside, the light stops your body. Like it says, hey, okay, it's light out. Let's stop producing melatonin. So supplementing melatonin can help those who struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep. Taking melatonin is not replacement for sleep issues, right? It is a supplement. You need to get down to the root of the cause. It simply helps regulate your circadian hormones. According to the Sleep Foundation, there is no consensus on the optimal dose for adults, but a typical dose would be 1 to 3 milligrams about 2 hours before sleep. So sleep hygiene, that means the practices and habits that promote optimal sleep duration and quality. There are lots of little things you can do if you have sleep issues to progress yourself into having a better night's sleep. First off, you want to create a quiet, dark, and comfortable sleeping environment. This means covering windows with blackout drapes or shades. You can even wear sleep masks to block out any light. You want to minimize noise disturbances. You can do that with earplugs or a fan to kind of muffle the noise. If you can, adjust the room temperature to suit you. The ideal temperature for most is 65 degrees. So you snuggle up in your blankets and you don't feel too hot and you don't feel too cold. Make sure if you can, you use quality bedding, mattresses, mattress topper, invest in nice sheets and quality pillows. Make sleeping something that you look forward to doing because you have a comfortable sleep environment. The bedroom needs to be made for sleeping, right? So there should be no TVs, no laptops, and no gadgets in the bedroom. There shouldn't be your bedroom should also not be your gym. So there should not be a treadmill or bike next to your bed, right? Since some of us do need to be in touch 24/7, you may have to have your phone on, but put it in a place where you can't just sit in your bed and scroll through your phone or play on your phone, right? It needs to be somewhere away. Phones and screens should be turned off about an hour and a half before going to bed. They do emit a blue light, and you can get some blue light blocking glasses. You can put those on 2 hours before bed if you are in front of a TV, a computer, or your phone screen to help block those blue lights so you can start winding down, releasing the melatonin and getting ready for sleep. These things can all help effectively regulate your sleep wake cycle and then support mental health. Don't hit the snooze button in the morning. Get up when the alarm goes off. If you have problems with snoozing, place the alarm far away from you in the room that forces you to get up to turn it off. Right? As we know, if you're doing little 9 to 10 minutes snoozing, you're not actually getting any sleep. You're still in that kind of light dream state. So you're only hurting yourself. If you have also if you have a tendency to check your phone during the night, or if you are one of those people that looks at the clock when they're not asleep and keeps worrying like, oh, crap, if I get to sleep now, I only get 7 hours. If I only get to sleep now, it's gonna be 5.5 hours. Then you need to cover the clock or move the phone so you cannot see it. Next would be to empty your bladder before bed, right? So you don't have to get up in the middle of the night and interrupt your sleep. Stop using the caffeine 6 hours before bed, and no nicotine 1 to 2 hours before bed. Those are both stimulants and will adversely affect your sleep. Avoid alcohol and large meals before bed. Alcohol reduces the restorative value of sleep. So if you're drinking a beer or a glass of wine before bed, it's going to negatively affect the restorative value. And you need that as a taco athlete, right? You need your body to enter that healing and restorative phase part of sleep. Don't eat a heavy meal right before bed. If you're hungry, have a very light snack. Try to avoid exercise within 3 hours of bedtime. If you exercise right before bed, it's going to put you in a state of excitement and your body's going to be revved up, and that's not conducive to sleep. When possible, go to bed and wake up at every day, even on your days off. This sets the habit in your internal clock of your body of a sleep-wake cycle. If you're having problems sleeping, get out of bed. Don't just lay there and overthink things and be in your mind, right? Get up. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't fall back asleep in 20 minutes, get up and do something. If you have problems that consist, sleep problems, 2 weeks after correcting your sleep habits, talk to a healthcare provider. If you've done everything that I just mentioned and you're still not sleeping, talk to your healthcare provider. And for some shift workers, this is for you, right? And this is taken from the Center for Sleep and Human Performance. We're talking about, what color light is best for sleep. So if you're doing shift work during the night shift, definitely increase your light exposure as your first half of working the night, so you stay alert. In the second half, slowly start to gradually progress into darker light. As you can see here, you have candlelight, sunlight, direct light, overcast, blue sky. Warmer light is similar to a setting sun, which may help signal that it's time for sleep. Exposure to bright lights, cool tones such as blue light from screens can inhibit melatonin and force you to stay awake. Shift work, I can speak on this because I did shift work when I was in the military. They can definitely have insomnia or excessive sleepiness due to their work schedule. There are strategies to help shift workers adjust to your night shift, swing shift, 24-hour shift, and whatnot to manage your health and safety. So before night shift, sleep before work, let's say 3 to 10 p.m. This is helpful for shift workers. For morning types, it also reduces fatigue during the night shift, and you can benefit from the morning sun. Moving into a daytime schedule will be easier. If sleeping pre-shift is not possible, take a tactical nap before your night shift. After the night shift, go to bed as soon as possible. This promotes longer sleep and gives you time for social activity later in the day. Definitely try to avoid morning light exposure after your night shift. Blue blocking glasses, sunglasses if you're driving home and it's daylight. Just do what you can. If you're transitioning from night shift to day shift, after days off, after your last night shift, sleep less, like 4 to 5 hours, stay up later that day to build up sleep pressure, and then do the full night of sleep. Transitioning from day shift to night shift, before switching back to your night shift, go to bed a little earlier each night to progressively delay your bedtime. Sleep towards where you are going. If you're not a night owl, it may be easier to transition your sleep schedule over one night, right? You might just have to stay up a little bit longer just to transition. There's really no easy way. You just kind of have to figure out what works best for you in order to transition and during your shift work. This is what we just talked about before night shift, sleep before work. During night shift, increase light exposure during the first half. After night shift, go to bed as soon as possible. Avoid excessive morning light. Wear sunglasses. Transitioning from night shift to days. Sleep less, build up sleep pressure, and then transitioning from day to night shift. Sleep towards where you're going. So progressively, perhaps go to bed a little bit later each night. Here are a few strategies for shift workers. If you can, limit 8-hour third shifts to 5 or less in a week with days off in between. Limit 12-hour shifts to no more than 4 in a row, and then take 48 hours off after a few night shifts. Avoid frequently rotating shifts or rotate them from morning to afternoon to evening to night. And multitask or use light to help stay awake. Take a break in a well-lit room. They even make sun lamps, which kind of you can get on Amazon or whatever, and you can adjust how much brightness you want, so you can take that with you to kind of help you deal with sleepiness and alertness as you see fit. So, alternatives that can help you sleep. First thing we're going to talk about is breath work. So, breathing exercises are simple, they're free, and it's an easy way to manage stress, feel more relaxed, and wind down before bed. This may even help you fall asleep faster and sleep more soundly. So, an example is the 478 breathing method. It's also known as the relaxing breath. So, this is a deep rhythmic technique based on the pranayama practices. Pranayama means breath work. This breathing exercise involves a pattern of inhaling, holding the breath, and exhaling, which helps reduce anxiety and promote the relaxing sleep. Try this exercise using the 5 steps. So first, you're going to empty your lungs by completely emptying them out, letting your lips part, and have an audible exhale through your mouth. Then you're going to, with your mouth closed, inhale quietly through your nose to a count of 4. So that's the 4 of the 7-8. Hold your breath for a count of 7, and then exhale slowly for a count of 8. Repeat this cycle around 6 times and then return to normal breath. So 4-7-8 breathing is inhale 4, hold for 7, exhale 8. Yoga Nidra. So this is a guided practice to take your body through those 4 stages of brainwave activity to promote your body to relax for sleep. So that's why I brought the brainwave up earlier, because Yoga Nidra can help you take from that high alert state to that delta, deep sleep, rejuvenating. So yoga nidra, there is no actual physical poses or movements when you like as if you think of yoga. This one is done while you're lying on your back on the floor or in your bed, and it guides you through, like as I said, beta, alpha, theta, and delta brain waves. This can help your sleep onset, ensuring you fall asleep quickly and stay asleep throughout the night. Some of the benefits include calming your nervous system down. It brings you a sense of soothing relaxation, helps your body naturally release melatonin, brings down anxiety, and just gives you a feeling of serenity. There is an app called Headspace, which has great wind down meditations for sleep, progressive muscle relaxations, breath work, dreamy sleep music, soothing soundscapes. There's tons of free sleep music and meditations and breathing practices on YouTube as well. Another great source is CBTI website, which is called the Cognitive Therapy Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. That's a great resource. They have lots of good information on that website about sleep and how to get it. So sleep, right? We understand it's vital to the success of us and the tactical athletes being mentally and physically strong. Sleep helps us to recover faster, improves our resistance to illness, and just helps us be rested and ready to tackle the day. Setting up a sleep plan and sleep habits are the best way to overcome sleep issues. By working towards the best possible sleep you can on a daily basis, you're going to improve your overall health and well-being. Remember, it's your responsibility to try to get that 7 to 9 hours in the 24-hour period. Set up your sleep space, quiet, dark room, blackout curtains, limit the noise, no TV, no phones, no distractions. Like, the bedroom is for sleep and rest and recovery. No big meals before bed, no caffeine. Little things add up. Try them out, see what happens, and I hope you all get a good night's sleep.